Ouch, a 99.98% loss in 69 days. That is exactly what this chart is showing you there from the open of that candle all the way down here. And is this a junk coin? Is this one of those, they say, shit coins? Is this even project? I mean, the reason I'm even doing an evaluation is because it was asked and when it requested us, can we do an analysis on this? So let me, before we go any further, let me make sure that I cover a couple of things. By the time you're done this video, you'll have a much better picture as to, from a technical analysis point, what this all really means and is there any opportunities in this. But at the end of the day, it's for entertainment purposes only. So it is not investment advice. That you are responsible for your own investments, and make sure that you consult with a financial advisor that can work with you and make a good decision. Okay, this is just educational and entertainment. You saw that in the preview. So let's get started. Here we go. So yes, it is true. 99.98% loss of that particular coin, which is, let's look it up here, Sanshu Inu. Sanshu Inu. I even have to type it in. Sanshu Inu. If you're curious what tool I'm using here is this is TradingView, and it's very, very helpful, and we use it consistently to be able to help us do analysis. So here there's a meme fund. There's one of those meme stock, not stocks, but cryptocurrencies. I'm going to leave it to you to do fundamental analysis, whether you think this is a good project or not. And no, this is one of those. This is a very low cap type of coin, and as a matter of fact, it only seems to be available on uniswap for Ethereum. So you have to figure out how to connect that, and we have other videos that we may do later on sharing how to do that, if that is something you end up deciding to learn how to do. But as far as the investment itself, that is totally up to you. Make sure that you are responsible. So that being said, this is a fund, so I'm not going to look at that one. Well, I can look at it real quick, but it doesn't give me a whole lot there. And I'm looking for Sanshu Inu, and I'm going to go with Ether. So I can only buy this with Ethereum, and you would need to connect your Ethereum wallet to be able to swap it out. Now, Uniswap is a reputable swap place where you can actually swap coins for another's, but we will do a review on that later as well. So that whoever got caught up here and ended up having to sell down here, unfortunately, had that type of a loss. But is there opportunity from a technical analysis side on the charts? Now, one of the things to be careful about is whenever you're looking at a chart like this, you see that when it first hits an exchange, it will usually dump right off the bat. Most coins will. And not all of them, but most of them will. And once that is done, then the cycles begin. And so we're trying to figure out, is there a cycle going to be in here for this project? So as you saw, I zoomed in, and as I zoomed in, all of a sudden the chart looks quite different because it took that candle into account. So I'm going to remove that candle out of the way here and see kind of where we are. This is the daily chart. I'm zooming in a little bit, right up to there. Okay, and that's the initial dump when it started. Dump, all the way down here. Now, what I do like about this, from a technical analysis side, is what if I were to be able to decide to, I want to explore this option, I like the project, and I think that would be good, then what would I be looking for as a possibility? Now, I like seeing these kind of trends, and I don't often get to see them here. So let's go with drawing of that rectangle here and do something like this. That is a bit of a trend here, and I'm going to go maximum there. Let me unlock it so that I can play with it at however I want. I would say that that's a pretty good trend right there. Oops, going back and forth, and ranging between the values of, let's measure that here, from here to here, 126% and down. That's actually not even drawn very accurately, so let's move that a little closer here to there. You know what, I could draw it easier with a measuring, let's go with, that's okay, we'll just do it like that. So let's measure like this, from here, from the bottom of that to about here, that height. That was a 970% increase just on that part of it. Wow, that's crazy. I hadn't even looked at it beforehand. So that is a pretty wide range, and I'm looking at it on the daily charts. So this is, now I'm just gonna, if this were to be an area that gets broken and it goes into previous support areas, you're probably going to be somewhere in this range. Let me lock it in so we have more accuracy between, I would say, the lowest range here to the highest right about there. So anywhere in there would be areas for, and possibly this one right here, but let's just go from there. If I picked it up from there and decided to go and take this ride, obviously that is a pretty nice ride. If I hit the top there, 1,147%. Now the time, ignore the time because this is just doing a projection on potentially where it would be based on support. Do I see anything else that might be, let's say I think that's a really, really exciting project and it doesn't have a ton of history, so I don't know. And what would I project this at a much higher level? And how can I get a notification if it seems like it's ready to jump? So one of the things that we have is a particular self-coded indicator that we use to help us to be able to go, okay, where are we in these charts, and can we get notifications letting us know if it's a good time. Right now, it's telling us that by itself is telling us that it probably will hit a little bit of resistance right around here, but that in of itself is 530%. That's not bad at all, right? If it does hit that again, which generally tends to try to test that out. As long as the project doesn't go belly up, then it would be really good. Just even that. And then seeing what it does, and if it goes from there, probably jump into these areas, and if it manages to break through that, then there. And if it manages to break through this other range right in here, which I'm gonna make nice and big, because this area right here, there could be a little bit of turbulence in there. But once that gets cleared, then there is very little stopping it till, well, we can argue this point and these points here. But let's see what those represent. Those represent right here. This point right here would be, on top of that channel would be 1,600%, 4,000%, 3,000%. So as you can tell, this is getting ridiculous, right? So how can I possibly get a sense of where might this be a little bit more realistic? Well, once it starts to break up to those levels, if it breaks in a nice big candle, then it could be we're looking at some newer high, potential newer highs from these last ones. So let's remove that for a moment. And if I want to be notified when that happens, I could use this my indicator here to be able to go, okay, let me know as soon as it hits there, and then maybe that's when you get out. So that way I don't have to be staring at charts all the time. That's why we have that tool, but that's for another tutorial. That's just sort of a quick glance. Now let's go look at a tool that may be helpful here in this scenario, where we have the lowest we could find, which is right here probably, to there. And as you see, all these extensions. If you are unfamiliar with this, fib extension, let me just clean this up a little bit because there's so much to look at on that. Let me go to a basic one. Main fib, no, let's go to your trading. Okay, there we go. We're probably going to do it this way, it'd be better. So from here, there are some key fibs that end up becoming very helpful. For example, these right here. If it were to go on, it would be considered a super cycle from where it's at right now. It could very well be trying to target these levels. Now, does that mean that it's going to get there? No, doesn't mean that at all. But that would be, if I don't have as much history on it, because I don't know yet what the cycles are going to be, this could very well be a nice top that we start having some trouble. And that in and of itself, anywhere in this range would be anywhere between 4,300 to 5,000% before I decided, you know what, I think that's a good time for me to take some profits and get out. Now this is assuming a super cycle. It would still bounce around, go up and down through all this. Nothing ever really goes straight up. You'll see some straight downs because they come down really fast, but when people start to take profits, if it's a big whale, they will definitely take some of those profits and all of a sudden tank really fast. And we've seen that before. So from here, if I'm looking at this now that I see on a daily, where am I on a daily chart and what is my general structure of what I'm seeing here? Well, let's take a closer look from a retracement perspective. Let's low to this high here, And let's extend the lines out a little bit more. So extend it to the right, right there. And okay. And here, oops, hit the cancel on the wrong one here. Go there, extend to the right so we get a better idea. And here, we're gonna reverse it. So if you're not familiar with fibs, those are very, very useful tools. And we're seeing something really nice right here, which is, generally speaking, in the regular markets, now this is not the regular market, it's a crypto. So crypto is more volatile. It can take deeper corrections, and it could also take faster jumps. Oh, let me go back to this here. That's the high point that I had. So from lowest to highest there, we have bounced off what's considered the 786 once. I'm just taking the whole bulk here. Once, twice, and definitely started to pull back and found some support right here. It seems to be wanting to find support there. Now, if it manages to hold support there or down here, it could be one of those places where I'm like, that might be interesting to see how high this thing would jump from an educational perspective only. Okay, keep repeating that. So in crypto, sometimes this thing might go even lower. So it's very possible that it could come down into these to test the support again to see where it's at. That's a 45% drawdown to, if it comes all the way back and retest the bottoms, to a 73% drawdown. So drawdown meaning it could very well come and retest these, and it could get really scary, right? If you're in and you put in, and all of a sudden this thing's getting really close to zero, that would be not so fun. And you took a risk, and that's the markets. The markets are about risk and managing that risk. So is this, but without knowing anything about the project, without really delving into it, seeing if it's something that news and all that, and who's behind it and all that stuff, I don't know that I would consider this one of those that would be a big one for me. However, it does seem enticing, and part of that enticing part is how am I managing my budget? Because if I don't do good money management, and you try to put the house in because it seems so tempting and get greedy, because there's potential for really high rewards, then that's not a very sound strategy, and that's what makes a lot of people go broke. So one of the things is making sure that you have a better sense. Now, if you're sitting there going, I like taking partial profits in these type of scenarios, and I'm going, where would those be? Maybe take some here to make sure I got my initial investment back, maybe some of it here, maybe some of it as we start getting to these levels right here. The 1618 would be a really good one right in here. Partial profits and then letting the rest ride. That would be probably a little bit of a sounder strategy if I was considering something like this. So I know that there's a lot of meme coins out there, and a lot of times by the time meme coins get already shared, these things have already done the huge jump, and they're trying to get people to come in thinking that it's going to moon again. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but I don't like them when they've already jumped. So if I find something that is like, this hasn't quite jumped yet, and it seems to be sitting here for a while, could this sit for months and just be way in the sideways motion for up and down for a while? It could. So that would be another factor to take into consideration. How long am I willing to be patient and stick to a plan? Because there's not a huge secret to trading, which is 3 key points. And this is something you can walk away with. And I promise you a really good gift. This is it. Do you have a strategy? That's number 1. Number 2, have you written that strategy down? Or that plan and that strategy down? And number 3, can you implement it like a robot? Can you make it to actually stick to what you said you were going to do? You do those things and you do it consistently, then generally those tend to give you much better results than just trying to catch a quick pump and trying to get lucky. That's nothing wrong with that. It's just a lot of times you'd have to wait a long time. And I've seen many people there, they get tired of it, and they get tired of holding, and all of a sudden they sell out just above what they bought it in. They're happy that they take a little profit, and then soon after that, boom, that thing blew up, and it went just skyrocketed. So as a matter of fact, I knew a friend who did that. They in AMC, they got it at a really good price, sold it at a couple of dollars above that, and then after that it 10x and plus on that particular one. So there you go. There's the analysis for Ethereum Sanshu. And I would encourage that if you are even thinking of doing anything with this, do your due diligence on fundamentals and see if you think it's a project that has some value to it. If we've already done a review on this, which we haven't been in at all, then we will potentially put that in here and you can go ahead and click on it. So if you like this video, go ahead and click that like button, subscribe so you can get more like these, and we can continue to share and enjoy, and may you be profitable.